I have got my emotional guards up. The PTSD for MSQ is in full swing. I am frightened. So around 6 months ago now, I posted a video about my new player leveling experience in A Realm Reborn, and at the point of making that video, I had roll credits on 2.0 ARR, and I'd done patch 2.1 and 2, I think. And it's been a little while since then. I finished all of the patches, got to see the true cataclysmic ending to the 2.5 ARR credits, and then took my first steps into Heavensward and Ishgard proper. Had my mind blown at the gates of Ishgard, as so many people from our wonderful community were waiting there for me, which was a complete surprise, and I totally didn't actually lose my shit. Anyway, since then, I've also finished 3.0 rolled credits on baseline Heavensward, and made my way through patch 3.1 and 3.2, which we're tying up this weekend, and hopefully stepping into 3.3 over on the live streams, which every Wednesday, every Sunday, on Twitch and YouTube. Come and hang out and join in on my journey of an Eorzean Lifetime as I play through as a new player to Final Fantasy XIV for the very first time, playing through in chronological patch order and not allowing myself to interact with any piece of content that I haven't already unlocked and experienced. On that journey as well, I check out the patch websites and the trailers and just really get a feel for what it was like at that time, going through the motions of the game's lifetime and life cycle, being excited for the new patch and all the stuff that comes with it. So that's been a blast so far, and I am loving every minute. But I really want to just take a sec to have this kind of conversation, regardless of anyone being interested in it or not, but I just want to get down my thoughts and feelings on my journey so far before I go too far ahead and I'm not able to recall properly, or I misremember my feelings about how the game has been in that early game and that transition as I go into Heavensward and then the patches and stuff. I think really what I want to discuss in this video is basically what it was like from 2.0 A Realm Reborn through to the end of 2.5 patches, and then stepping into Heavensward. Because it really does feel like to me that with every single patch entry, 2.1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it just didn't miss. And every time that I thought we'd reached a new peak in either presentation or delivery in terms of animation quality, the music, of course, the boss fights, the narrative, the characters, everything just seemed to go to a new level. And then I thought surely that's it for now. But the amount of improvement from 2.0 through to the end of 2.5 and then setting you all up properly for what awaits for you in 3.0 and onwards, I genuinely was so blown away every single patch. It just seems like something had changed dramatically on the development side of things to be like, okay, you know what? We're gonna take all that story that might have seemed a little bland, especially if you remember or you recall back how A Realm Reborn's story was presented in 2.0. It can feel like the pacing is very slow. And like that's even with the streamlining, by the way. But there's lots of comments that I see, lots of messages in stream chat and on YouTube comments and things like that, where people talk very negatively about A Realm Reborn. And as someone who took their time to not rush it in terms of making sure I read every quest text and not skipping through any of the dialogue and ensuring that I had a good understanding of at least what the story is trying to tell you, the gravity of the situation, how important moments are, how characters are feeling, especially if you stop and you talk to characters in the in-between moments before you kick off an actual dialogue section. You get a few cool little interactions that I really love. But yeah, it just seemed like everything was dialed up, and I honestly couldn't believe that with every patch it got better. And then I thought it would peak, but it didn't. And it got better and better and better. And I think for me, it felt like similar to the old golden era of Game of Thrones, like the early seasons, in terms of each episode being very intentional, meticulous, and very well planned out and layered, with the different things going on with different characters in different parts of the world, spinning plates all over the place. and just applying a proper amount of layering that really you can actually see the writing on the wall and see a few little bits and bobs here and there that are waiting for you that are kind of implying where the story's going, what's going to happen, and the cataclysm that awaits for you at 2.5's credits. But at the same time, it's obfuscated so well that even if you are a keen eye and you've got that kind of ability to pick out where the narrative is going, there's still a surprise waiting for you. There is still also the emotional impact. Having the knowledge of what's going to happen would not make it any less impactful in my mind. I'm sure that some people would be less surprised or less shocked, but the fact it's happening to you, to your people, and then the ramifications that you must deal with, those are still very real things that you have to live through. So I thought that in particular was such an incredible, like, wow, Final Fantasy XIV is swinging and never missing at this time, for me at least anyway. It just felt like every patch a banger. New trials, new characters, new story and plot, the music just getting dialed up again and again. It seemed like everything was just bliss, which I am sure this is intentional, but the fact of, again, I don't want to give any spoilers, but the fact of it all feeling like, wow, everything is just going so good. And in terms of like the content that you're delivered and the quality of the stuff that you're delivered and you're playing through, you'd feel very, very happy, I'm sure, as a Final Fantasy XIV player if you stuck around from 1.0 to 2.0 and then you start getting these kind of deliveries in patches that are just utterly blowing you away. I'm sure, like at the time, putting myself in those shoes and thinking about how long you'd have to wait between patches and then what comes in them, I just honestly, they were cooking with fire. It was incredible to play through, and I'm sure many people who would have been played through at that time will agree. And of course there'll be Discord, that's fine, but I'm kind of rambling a bit, so let me just pull it back. So my point being that whilst you'd feel really good about that kind of delivery and stuff and the things that you're getting, it's no spoilers, but it seems like it's designed to lull you into this false sense of everything is going great for the game, therefore everything is going to be going great in the game. And whilst it did seem like you were making strides towards really good positive goals and things coming together in Eorzea between the Eorzean Alliance and other parties and whatnot, it actually turns out that catastrophe is waiting for you. And again, don't want to give any spoilers or anything, but the fact that you're on such a high, and regardless of, like I said earlier, if you can pick these moments out and you can see that there is a storm brewing, Harry, right? it doesn't matter. It's still so impactful. And genuinely, the feeling of 2.5 credits going into Heaven's Ward, I was so shocked at how much it affected me, because for most of my way through 2.0, I was quite frustrated with the Scions as characters. They were definitely my least favorites for sure, but that's a story for another time. But I couldn't believe the actions that happened in 2.5, and then my physical and emotional reaction and being really quite upset and not wanting. I don't want to do what you end up doing at the beginning of 3.0. I don't want to do these things. I don't want to take these steps away. I want. It's so hard to not talk without spoilers, but I'm sure you understand what I mean. I don't want to go. Okay, and it is such a very incredibly clever storytelling that I'm sure is going to continue to narratively pay off and has been paying off. I mean, I finished 3.0 credits and I finished 3.1. We're finishing up 3.2 and stepping into 3.3 very, very soon. But I just wanted to kind of like just talk about that and just say my piece on how I felt in the moments. I could probably go back and be a little more granular and talk about exactly how I felt in 2.1 and 2.2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and maybe I will. I don't know if anyone is even going to be interested in this kind of line of conversation and stuff, but For me, I just really wanted to say that as someone who was paying attention to the narrative and could see some of these things brewing, but not really, I wasn't close to the mark, you know, like it just feels like it is so reminiscent of the golden age of like of Game of Thrones, of the early seasons. And now I genuinely, like, as a 3.2 player at this point, I have got my emotional guards up. The PTSD for MSQ is in full swing. I am frightened. In a really good way. The story is clearly engaging me, and narratively I'm attached to my people and to every new character I meet. I also have this feeling that, like, I can't get too attached now because there is a war going on, and as much as we are friends and we are close, it's not just that there is one war going on, there are multiple things happening at once. And already, I'm going to break for a second and say, I already feel like at 3.2 at this point, please no spoilers in comments and stuff, but I'm like, okay, so we've got the Dorks of Darkness, and we've got the Dragon Song War, and you know, we can we get Estinian back and these kind of things. But there's also the Ascians, of course, right? And, you know, goddamn Ascians, goddamn Alligans. But I've started to remember, what about the Garlean Empire? It's just that very clever approach and delivery system of the storytelling, of the characters, of their narrative weight, and kind of taking you from place to place and having you really focused on different things at different times. That is now in full swing and in full spin and effect in Heavensward. But that began, I feel like it began back in patch 2.1. And the going around and the misdirection that happens to you as a player and as a narrative character, it just keeps getting better. And I'm so glad that I began my journey of an Eorzean Lifetime back in June of 2024, and it's just gone from strength to strength. I know there's a lot of conversation at the moment that personally I don't take part in because I don't consume any modern current day Final Fantasy XIV media or any YouTube videos because I don't want to risk spoilers. I'm trying to be very, very true to my approach of a journey of an Eorzean Lifetime, my project of approaching things patch by patch and exploring and enjoying it as if it was like my own classic WoW journey and reliving moments, but actually going fully in and not allowing myself to interact with stuff until I actually come to that patch and unlock it and play through it so that I can appreciate it more. But my point being that whilst I'm doing that and I don't consume modern 14 videos right now, the date being the 7th of March 2025, there's a lot of negative discourse. The game is dying. It's got worse. Oh, the story's not very good. Dawn Trail problems this. Oh, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of negativity, and I just want to put in my voice saying Final Fantasy XIV is the GOAT. It's just incredible. I'm sure that, like everything, there are lull moments. There are gonna be misses. You can't keep hitting patch after patch, expansion after expansion. You know, development teams change, intentions change, resources change, pacing changes. Yeah, there's all of those excuses or reasonings, but that's fine. And I just want to throw in a little positivity instead of the doomer take. This game is just the best. And if you've been watching my journey, whether it be through VODs, or you're here for the live streams, or you check my daily shorts, or you hang out in my Discord, thank you for being part of the Going Merry crew. Thank you for joining me on my journey of an Eorzean Lifetime. And if this is the first time that you've come across one of my videos, thank you for making it this far to my yapping. Please tell me your thoughts and your feelings and your favorite moments about A Realm Reborn 2.0, and then from 2.1 through to 2.5. I'll be doing a similar kind of thing for when I wrap up with Heaven's Ward proper, but we are going to be starting, I think we're starting 3.3 this weekend. So I still have a little ways to go, and I am still utterly terrified and have MSQ PTSD, but that's all part of the journey. You got to appreciate the friends you make along the way, for however long they're there. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one.